Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and it's time for a de-stash update. So, in September, I did a stash update or de-stash update. I spent the last half of August and the first 3 weeks of October using as much yarn as I possibly could. Now, we're going to ignore the fact that I have random stuff in the room right now and just talk about the stash situation. So we're going to start over here. I did already start kind of rearranging some things a little bit, just so I have a better picture of what's going on here, but I'm trying to limit my rearranging just until the end of the year. And then January, I will rearrange everything properly and start hopefully pulling things from the closet onto the shelves. But I have been doing amazing. I'm not going to lie, amazing on the using more than I'm bringing in this year in particular. But even if I take into account what I purchased at the Southern Comfort Fiber Market, which is not part of Project D-Stash, even if I take that into account, I am ahead on my yarn budget this year. So I used, as of this video coming out, you will already know, I used 60 pounds of yarn during my use as much yarn as I can process. And that was like 27,000 grams. Which means I have $270 extra there, which actually covers more than what I purchased in yarn at the Southern Comfort Fiber Market, because my fleece purchases don't count for that. It's just the yarn. So anyway, I have progress that is visible, obvious visible progress. Holes are starting to appear here. So this is where I am right now. That little ball there actually goes with these Woolies yarns. But we've got size 1 and just like the cotton gradient cakes up there. These are size 3s, and I was kind of trying to put anything with wool content on this shelf, or like that one's an alpaca. This has wool. These all have wool. So all that will eventually slide down here. I just need to find something to use as a spacer, because my acrylic spacers don't fit on that shelf, and there's no room to bring the shelf down without squishing other things. I guess theoretically I could bring this shelf up one. But anyway, these are all mandalas and cupcakes to here. Then this is Premier DK here. That's Premier Butterfly. And that's a Hobium yarn that I got years ago. We have Roll With It tweeds. I just stuck the prism here just because it was a place to stick it. These are all Karen cakes right here. These are Sweet Rolls from Premier, Candy Shop from Premier, plus the Joann's neon yarns. I was originally going to do a review on that and the prism, but the truth is what I ended up doing is sharing what you might already have in your stash or deep stash. So I ended up not using these for a project for the purpose of review. Now, these Karen cakes were over here. So that means I also have a hole here. And before in September, I already had the hole behind my Bones dog, Dr. Bones McBarf, but Bork. We've got, eventually I'd like to have these sorted more by weight, but these are Karen cotton cakes. These are the cakes that were only available in Canada from Michael's a couple years ago that have the silk blend. Love them. Love them, love them. Wish I would bring them down here. We have some comfy cotton here. We also have some of the, I want to make a sweater out of this, like a summer cover up type sweater, something very lacy, but I found a couple, and then Erica, the Lopsided Crafter, actually found me some more when it went on clearance. This is Hirschner's. Then these are cottons except for the dotted line, which is an acrylic. And I actually wanted to make a cupcake sweater out of this, but I just never have done it. This will eventually go to the other one. This is the Hirschner's pastry puff. And this rainbow one is also pastry puff, which will leave me some room to kind of put the cloud cakes out with these skinny cakes here. But there really wasn't much change from my spinning cart here down. The big change was creating this hole right here. Nothing really changed with fingering weight yarns. We still have tons and tons and tons of fingering weight yarns. One of the things I'm going to start doing before the end of the year is going through these Drona cubes and actually seeing what's in all of these and start kind of, I'll find a way to organize them and label them like I have this one here. This one is all skeins of striped sock yarn. So I'd kind of like to start getting that a little bit more organized. I'm trying to get all my cotton DKs over here. But we've got, these are all DK except for those two. Kind of fancy looking DKs. Then we start moving into the acrylic DKs, big cakes. Most of these are Premier. That's Premier Dottie, Premier Nordic. That's actually something from the yarn shop in Waxhaw. This is Brava in the sport weight. More acrylics. These are cottons and polyesters here. So I kind of like to move all that into this, which means there's a large possibility when I'm done organizing just what's on the wall that we will have two empty cubes because this is not well organized and this is not well organized. So theoretically, both of these cubes could be empty just from trying to clean up some of the stuff that has gotten shifted around. This is more cottons, and this is like worsted weight cotton, DK weight cotton, and blends. And now we're in the worsted weight zone. So this is worsted weight hand dyeds. These are just some randoms. Some wool blends, some not. And then we have all that Venus, Peyton's Venus, the empty cube. These have actually been reorganized already. And that just happened as part of the 30-day challenge, is us pulling things out of the wall. I kind of was pulling things completely out to make sure I was getting all of each color because I kept finding things tucked behind after I'd already pulled something. But we have all my Bernat Sheepish plus this right here. The rest of this is roving style yarns. These are all wool blends. These are all wool blends or alpaca blends. These are all wool, silk, and alpaca. Then we have Brava plus a thing of Mighty Stitch. That is all of my remaining Red Heart Super Saver. And I love this yarn. Just that one cube right there. And I put a divider in there. That way everything could go into the one. So, oh, very sore. We have some just random bits in here. I used most of this, and this in the 30-day challenge. I saved 2 of the berry and 2 of the off-white Red Heart Softs to put together the blanket, but in case I need to crank anything else, I did want to go ahead and leave these whole. I only had 2 of the Peytons and the tent sale left, so I'll do a hand knit project or hand crochet project out of those. I need to do some baby hats next year, so that might go into that. These are all acrylics with sparkles. Then we have Premier Anti-Pilling, Premier Anti-Pilling, and then these next 3 are Vanna's Choice. This was bought for a very specific project, which is why I'm not touching that. I am currently working on a granny square cardigan, and I think I'm either going to use this black or this gray to put the granny squares together for the cardigan. And that's all that I have direct plans for as of this moment. This is all Lion Brand Heartland. I used all of the purple, all of the other, so this looks garnet, but you can see like there's plum and garnet in here. I had another one that was mostly garnet. So I used all the garnet, all of the purple, and all of the blue out of there, and half of the black. I did go ahead and save these 4 skeins of the black because they match this. So for the project that I bought this for, I won't need the black, but I'm going to have leftovers of this. And I thought those looked really nice together. So these may become another project down the road. This is all of my Premier Basic that I have left. The goal was to actually crank all the colors that I had remaining and keep the neutrals, but I was unable to get that to go through the new machine. So I didn't make as much progress with that one. I have not set up the new machine yet. We will see how the new machine likes Premier Basics, because I can crank that out in a week and have November's goals done in no time. These are some more worsted weight wools. A lot of these were kind of part of other things, or they're like some Z-twist. And then on this side, we have bulky weight hand-dyed. Mostly scarfy, but that is Alpaca Surrey or Surrey Dream from Knit Picks up there. And this came as a kit. It was originally supposed to be a very fancy blanket, but there's no way I'm going to do that. So I don't know what that will become, but that was all in a kit together. This is all of my remaining Barcelona, as well as 2 things of Pebbles from the UK. I think it's a Bretsy Scott yarn. Probably would have been easier to go down than up. My legs are killing me, man. So this is primarily shawl in a ball, but we do have, this is an art yarn that I've had probably 14 years. I won a huge prize giveaway, and it was novelty yarns. That purple is actually banana silk. It's made out of banana peels. And this might be a Yarn Bee yarn or a Moda Day yarn. It's been here for a very long time. Then we have just some regular chunkies. So I didn't touch anything in this cabinet at all. This has made no change. There was no intention to make changes to this cabinet, but there has been no change to this cabinet other than where I put my purchases from the Southern Comfort Fiber Market. That is all yarns I've purchased at the Southern Comfort Fiber Market or at the Charlotte area yarn crawls. I did put some of the, I did put up some yarn in here that were in kind of like kits. But other than that, nothing has changed really this year with this, other than moving some stuff around and grabbing some things out. And then we'll come across the haul here. I have not cleaned up the frog from the 30-day challenge yet. I need to do that this week. Actually, I probably have to do that this afternoon. We have the ginormous stack of donation hats and scarves, pieces awaiting partners, the hats that need to be sent off. But my stack of totes is really down to that. I do have a couple of mostly full skeins in this tote, but I am using those for granny squares and just hand crocheting and knitting things. And this is my tote of scrap that I made. And I have a couple other scraps on my cart here, but that huge stack of 3 totes is now down to just this one tote with the neutrals. I do have the next things I am going to crank out here. So I guess technically this will be November, and then we'll see how it handles the basics. Hi, Pippin. Because he has to be a part of the moment. Those are my waist yarns. This needs to be recranked because I don't like the way it looks. I was trying to do something fancy, and I don't like the way it looks. So, yes, hello, baby bunny. But I pulled this out specifically for a project. This will be my next 2 at a time, two held together DK Sport project. So that's actually already pulled out. But significant changes have been made. And now we have a banner too. Yes, now we have banners too. I tried to go make the bed, and of course they were like, no, you've got to pay attention to us. Here we are. Yeah, so we have a sizable hole here to work with in the reorg. A sizable hole here to work with the reorg. We have one entirely cleared out cube, and between these 3 cubes, we may have a second entirely cleared out cube. We have a hole in the Brava. We have a hole in the Premier Anti-Pilling. We have a hole in the random acrylics zone. One of the other things I want to do that will take literally no time whatsoever, I want to take these 6 cakes here and make a shawl out of them. I'll probably do the same with these 4. So that will immediately take, almost 50% of the candy shop out of there. So that's already like on deck mentally for me to do. Now I can clearly see, some other projects, which is the goal for all this. Also, we do have a reduction up here. And I have some other plans for some of what will move around with those up there. But I am so excited because it actually, this time, for the first time in like 2 years, granted, I moved last year, so like I can't be too hard on myself for, not getting things done between June and the beginning of 2024. But there's clear and obvious differences with the yarn wall just from 1 month of really focusing on using as much yarn as I can. The whole thing ended up going down a rabbit hole that was not the intention, but I can't complain because look at what I got done. I mean, I kind of ended up switching gears, but made progress. So anyway, that is where we are. I did want to give you guys an update as we, a lot did happen in the last 6 weeks. It'll be about 6 weeks in between the 2 videos when you see this one. But of that 220 ball bands worth of yarn, those are the holes we're starting to see open up. And I have very clear plans for future projects that will be very quick to crank out that I could easily get done between now and the end of the year, on top of working on my Project UFO stuff. And just for the record, there's been no change in the closet. It's organized, contrary to how I feel about it. It is, in fact, organized in here, but it's not a convenient space for me to get into. Part of it is where this is a built-in shelf that is mega deep, and I have a lot of big things in here. So if I could, start getting the projects out of here, it would make getting to the books easier. So even if I don't get the books out on the bookshelf, if I can get the projects out of here and get those more visible, because visibility is what I need to use things. I did set aside, they won't be used this year, but I do have a little skeleton basket for socks for the fall next year. So I guess in probably June next year, as part of summer sock camp, I will do fall socks. And then in July, I will kind of focus on some Christmas socks, maybe. That's at least where my brain is right now. Because I really enjoyed doing summer sock camp. And I've, for the first time in all these years, I've said I was going to do it. So yeah, I'd really like to do that. So I'm getting to where I'm setting things aside and making things into like mini projects for the future. So anyway, you guys will see this in November. I'm filming this the 28th of October. So maybe by the time y'all see this, there'll be even more progress made, or I'll have things set aside. I could go through and like fill totes like I did last year. So those are all just over there ready to crank, and I don't have to like jump back and forth. They are so silly. Yeah, I'd like to get this situation fixed because it's driving me bonkers. But yeah, that's where we are. That's the progress I've made. I'm now starting to just reorganize what is already out here so we can start really consolidating some of the holes and really starting to see where those holes are cropping up and getting things to where they're more accessible for my brain to see where they are. So I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you real soon. I hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic day. Bye, you guys.